Good morning, and welcome to the Board of Mayor and Alderman work session, December 7th, 2023. At this time, I'll call the meeting to order. Are there any public comments? Seeing none, we'll move to item number 3. This is the approval of the minutes for the November 9th, 2023 work session minutes. Are there any corrections or deletions? Okay, we'll move those as approved. I would like to amend the agenda at this time to add Dan Hancock and staff from Putman and Hancock to speak and address the board about our audit ending June 30, 23.
Move to amend.
A second.
Okay, we'll add Mr. Hancock, and we're going to do this prior to the department reports.
Do we need to vote on that?
Do we need to vote on that?
that?
Yes.
Do we need to vote on that, Joe?
I would think
Just to
we
be
just
safe.
add something to the
Be
work
safe.
session. It couldn't hurt. So.
Yeah. I don't know.
Let's just do it to be. Aye. Aye.
Okay, Mr. Hancock, if you want to address the board, you have the floor.
Thank you. And what I'm going to do this morning is just go over some of the highlights. I think in the spirit of this is trying to make some deadlines and so forth, getting information to the comptroller's office by the end of the year. So previously you've received I think it's a PDF draft of the financial statements. A few items that are missing in that draft include management's discussion and analysis, which is a summary that will be at the front of the report, which we hope to have that inserted by Monday of next week and available for you. I'm going to hit some of the highlights that I anticipate being in that section right there. And I think there's one component that looks like it's not going to be there regarding the landfill. We're having to use the 22 numbers, not expecting any changes in that, but it's pretty common to just put the financial information is in the report, but it's based on fiscal year June of 22. And unless they've had any sort of actuarial study, the numbers would remain the same anyway. But we'll just disclose that in the report. That being the case, I know you've got a busy agenda, so I just want to hit some of the highlights that you can take back with you for this year. First of all, the audit report will include a clean opinion, if you will, unmodified, that the financial statements are fairly stated in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. That's the main thing. A few highlights that are going to be in that report on page 16. You have current year information because we do not, typically governments don't present comparative information, but on page 16 it does at the bottom have a number called excess of revenues over expenses, and just to summarize that, that's almost like profit, if you will, income. And for the current years, breaking that down, the city's component was $441,000 compared to an excess of expenses the year before of $950,000. So we had a positive swing in the current year at the city level. The schools were $38,000 this year compared to $585,000 the year before. And again, I should preface, this is at the funds level, and I'll come back and talk about it the government-wide in a minute. But the difference there is just in revenue stream for the schools changing in the current year. And then FPU, which is the primary proprietary fund of the city, their bottom line was $6.8 million this year compared to $7.1 million. So in total, for the city of Fayetteville, excess of revenues over expenses for 23, fiscal year 23 is $7.3 million compared to $6.8 million rounded year before. So it's a positive. Okay. Now that's at the funds level. Now meaning that's what they call it's not cash, but it's close to a cash basis reporting. It's only recognizing revenue and expenses that can be realized within basically 30 days after year end. When you switch to the term government-wide financial statements, which are up front, there's two, a balance sheet and a statement of activities, a statement of position, which is the balance sheet, and then a statement of activities, which is the income statement. That is to put the city more on a full accrual basis of accounting like any other business. So some numbers there to take with you. On the statement of activities there, City of Fayetteville, the city, excess revenues over expenses were $2,898,000 rounded compared to $2,824,000 the year before. Very stable, obviously. The schools for 23, $1,939,000, and that's a number that you can see in the report on I believe it's page 14, yeah. And compared to the year before, $3,059,000. Again, more dramatic than what I was saying at the funds level, but again, it's primarily due just to a change in the revenue stream in what they call their BEP money, Basic Education Program monies. FPU's income was $6,837,000 for 23 compared to $7,165,000 the year before. So in total, coming across, income $11,674,000 compared to $13,049,000 the year before. Now, the other thing is cash. Do we have any money? Cash for the city at the is $13,523,000 compared to $12,809,000. So that's an increase of $700,000 in cash for the city. Schools, $8,953,000 compared to $9,119,000 the year before, a decrease of $166,000. FPUs, $42,004,000 compared to $40,007,000. So it's an increase of $1,007,000. All total, cash for June of 23 for the city was $64,907,000 compared to $62,644,000 in 22. Very solid, very solid. Debt service coverage. We talk about this every year. For 23, for the city, is 3.02 times compared to 2.55 times the year before. And it's an increase, and it's very strong. We've got a banker in here, and I think Jeff would agree that 3 times is
Very good.
it's a bankable loan. The schools was 7.01 this year compared to 12 the year before. Lots of changes going on there in their financial statements, but still very strong. FPU's debt service coverage 4.02 times this year compared to 4.08 the year before. Composite. If they were looking at us at rating agencies and so forth, the city of Fayetteville would have a current year 4.13 compared to a 4.41 the year before. Very, very strong. So I know I went through that fairly quickly on that. We can talk about it in detail when you have a little time to absorb the financial statements. One other highlight that I would like to mention that's in the report, it's towards the back, and in the index it would be, let's see, I believe it's going to be on pages 142 and 143. Just want the board's attention to some of the, we've had a finding in the internal control area, and it relates to reconcilement of some of the significant accounts in cash, receivables, and some payables back to the subsidiary ledgers at year end. It's not considered a material weakness, but it's considered a deficiency in the internal controls. They have been corrected, and but for the fiscal year of 23, it was a comment that that is warranted to be made. The other item is a compliance matter in terms of budgeting for like transfers. We've got, can't remember what page it's on. Patty, what page is that on the transfers? On page 24, where it presents the government funds, and it's comparing their actual revenues and expenses back to the budgeted revenues and expenses. Transfers there was an excess variance in terms of what was budgeted for transfers, for expenditures and so forth in the funds compared to the actual number. So it is just an automatic that if we miss it on the budget, you have to comment on it at the comptroller level. So we had to make those two comments right there. Other than that, I'm happy to entertain if you've had an opportunity to come up with any questions. But we're looking to see if the board, if we can get the discussion and analysis information in there to try to get it, and again, spirit of trying to get this to the comptroller's office and the report approved by the board, either in their meeting next week or a special call meeting subsequent to that.
I'd like to recommend we go to Tuesday night next week.
Vote on it.
Vote on Tuesday night, yeah.
Be great. Yeah, I'm not expecting any changes.
I don't see any reason calling a special meeting later on if we got all the information by next Tuesday night.
You will. You'll just have that. The numbers are not going to change. It's just a matter of clarification or additional information. So they're solid.
Any other discussion or questions?
So what you're saying, Mr. Dan, is that we're financially stable as a city and we're eating, right?
Yes, I am financially stable, very strong from a bond rating standpoint. You've had improvements this year. I would encourage you, the budget, I had quite a lengthy process in getting the budget for the 24 year put together. It does indicate that you're expecting an excess of expenses over revenue, so it's going to have to be closely monitored because that excess is going to eat into what they call the unassigned fund balance next year. So it's going to bear watching, in this. These numbers do reflect the expected increase not the expected, the increase in the tax rate. They are in here, but still, we're if we got the budget right, there is a projected excess of expense over revenue next year, so it will eat into fund balance. We'll watch it pretty close, but yes, we're very strong.
Yeah, Tuesday, I think. Vote on Tuesday.
Is everyone okay with moving this to Tuesday for a vote? We've been late a couple of times recently, and we certainly do not want that again. We don't need that look on the city, so we'll move this to Tuesday night for a vote.
Great. Thank you very much. Again, I would like to compliment the staff here. There's been some changes and so forth, so we had a lot of effort put forth by them to get the information to us, and so they put up with our aggravation and so forth, and we appreciate all their help that they took to get us there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dan.
Bye-bye.
Okay, with that said, we're going to move on to the department reports. This morning we have Director Eddie Plunkett for Public Works.
Thank you, Mayor. Couple of things. The alley here behind the municipal building going north and south, we would like to make that one way going south, come in off College and go to.
We discussed this in our committee, and the problem is when you're going north and trying to pull out on the College, you can't see what's coming from towards the square, and you're out in that lane before you can tell what's coming, and it's not a very good situation. So our committee was okay with it. Roger's not here, but he was okay too.
Okay.
What the board wants to do is whatever.
Okay. And this will, Eddie, how will you kind of address this? Maybe painting arrows on the street and do not enter signs, or this is going to take a learning curve for the people that
We'll
use
just have
that
to put signs up. I don't think we paint the asphalt. It's been a state highway. We might it in the entrance of it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's about the best we can do.
We got some people backing out over at the post office too, and that creates even more
Yes,
problems.
even more. That's very congested right there. to have an alley.
It'll be a
In
learning
both
curve, but
directions.
once everybody learns it, it'll be a lot safer pulling out.
And we'll do some additional public education to let people know that that is being changed to a one-way, especially around the businesses, particularly that will be impacted.
Can we paint on the pavement on the alley itself, like
I
direction?
think we can paint it from the end of the parking spaces towards the square. We just can't paint out in the
Right,
drive lane.
okay.
Move that forward.
That's good.
Only other thing, we will be closed for Christmas, the 22nd and the 25th, due to garbage pickup. The Monday, garbage pickup will be picked up Monday night. Instead of putting your trash out on Sunday, put it out Monday night. And then we'll run Tuesdays as normal.
Can we get that on the city website?
I think it already is. I
Okay,
think Deidre sent that in
okay,
3
great,
weeks ago.
good.
But I think it's a little different what other departments are doing, but it'd be hard for us to pick up 3 days trash in one day. So we don't pick trash up on on Friday. So we'll just have Monday, Tuesdays to pick up Tuesday morning.
I do notice that in front of the library, you marked off the parking places.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And the reason they're different is when those new lines were put down and the people trying to park there, and it was really, they were sticking out in the road too much.
To angle the parking like it was before, there's gonna have to be set such an angle. When they put the line up the middle of the road, it altered the parking situation on both sides of the road, and they was gonna be at such an angle, it was better off just parallel parking. And I think we made it big enough that they won't have no problem getting in and out of there.
Well, they can park in behind that back parking lot too,
Yes, sir.
First Baptist Church. So, appreciate y'all doing that.
That's all I have, unless there's any questions.
Yeah, I got some. I had a citizen come to me and ask me this question, and I didn't know who else to ask but you. On William D. Jones Boulevard over there's a cemetery, and he was very concerned about the possibility of cars coming over and getting into that cemetery and knocking some stuff over. What would be the processes of maybe putting a guardrail up on right there where that cemetery is, just on the outside on where William D. is? Would that be something y'all would do, or would that be the state, or?
Well, that'd be all city.
Would it be?
I'm gonna tell you
Okay.
right now, guardrail is expensive.
Is it? Okay. Just an idea, just a thought. So I told him that I would bring it to you and talk to you about it.
I
So,
don't forgot what that one out there on Mulberry Road cost, but it was like 40 foot of it, at best I remember, was about 60,000-70,000.
wow. Okay.
It's expensive.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Eddie. Next up is the police department. I think we have Commander Templeton with us this morning.
Good morning, all. How are y'all?
Good morning, sir.
All right. Manpower update. We are currently, the command staff and our investigators are currently working shifts in addition to officers shuffling their shifts around to make sure that the city is fully covered at all times. So everything's running smooth as far as that goes. We have one that just went to orientation to Donaldson Police Academy. She will leave the 1st of January and get the ball rolling to become a certified officer. We have 4 that are in the process right now. We are enrolling them into Cleveland State Police Academy. That is the closest time period that we can enroll. Donaldson has already booked up through their April class, and unfortunately Blount County only hosts two classes a year. So in order to get our officers certified and get them on the street as soon as possible, we are enrolling them into Cleveland State.
When will they go to that, Kobe?
Ma'am?
When are they scheduled to go to Cleveland?
We're looking, it'll be also at the 1st of January as well. So that hopefully come April, we'll have them through the academy, through their field training officer phase, hopefully, and then have them out on the streets and reduce this overtime and that these guys are having to work. Like I said, the command staff and the investigators have all been pulling their share. We've been working shifts, taking reports, doing everything else like all the other officers, and we're going to keep it running.
We appreciate that.
The equipment, we have the 3 new Durangos. They have been issued out. They are currently on the street. We have 1 vehicle that's down at Sharps Communication having equipment installed. I do have word that the other Durangos that we ordered for this budget they are on the lot at Columbia Motors, but we are down on the list as far as equipment. They're a state contract agency, so they're going to get to us just as quick as they can get to us and get those vehicles equipped. Still no word on the other truck that we've ordered. As soon as it gets in, hopefully we'll get it processed and have it on the street soon as well. Departmental awards. On September 2nd, officers responded to the Regency Inn on an overdose case. Officer Jeremy Miller administered Narcan and saved an individual's life till EMS was able to respond. We are looking to award him the life-saving award for the department. And on October 15th, Andy Rodriguez, or city units, county units, fire, EMS, all responded down to the river access of a subject that had disappeared in the river. Officer Rodriguez threw on a life jacket and started wading the cold water looking for the individual. The individual was located about 30 minutes later in a cornfield. He climbed out of the water and was walking back towards the group. But we're looking to award Officer Rodriguez a meritorious service award for going above and beyond the normal call of duty to try to save this individual. And that is all I have, unless I have any further questions.
I don't have any questions. I just want to, I thank you during committee. I got a chance to ride with the police department, and if anybody has the opportunity to do so, it's a very fun and it's very good learning experience. So thank you for allowing me to do that. So really do appreciate it.
Y'all are all welcome. And
Yeah, he let me hold his gun and everything. It was awesome.
That's staying.
That's kind of a scary thought.
I'm just kidding. But thank you, Kobe. Thank you.
That's all.
That's all. Thank you. Fire Department, this morning we have Assistant Chief Davey Bergman.
Good morning. Don't have much this morning. We completed our RIT training. It's a 30-hour class. It's a very good class for the firefighters to learn how to save each other in case they get in trouble. They completed that this week. I was very proud of all of them. Hard work. It's half a day of just classroom, and then the rest of it's hands-on. They all put out everything they had to, and it was great. The next thing I have is our toy drive give out is on December the 21st down at the fairgrounds. That starts at 9 o'clock. We've had a good success down there, so we continue to do it there. Next buy night is December the 14th at Dollar General at 6 o'clock, so if anybody wants to help us with that, that's our last buy night. I encourage you to come down there and shop for the kids.
December 14th.
6 o'clock at Dollar General. And that's all I have.
Any questions for the Fire Department? Thank you. Parks and Recs, Director Nathan Browning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to start with the Bright Lights and Christmas Parade. I want to tell just my thanks for all the department heads and their people for the work they have done to make this. For us to pull this off, I thought it was very successful. The weather was great for Sunday, so we were able to get that going. I think the community had a real good time with it, and we're always looking for ways to improve it. So we'll be meeting to get some feedback as to how we can make it even better next year. The Kiwanis budget amendment and donation, we are looking to move $214 from operation to capital. That would be for our basketball goals at Kiwanis Park. We were able to get a donation from Kiwanis for $2107, and the grand total was $4214 when the budget was $4,000. So moving that $214, we could be able to go ahead and get that in the move, and I think they'll be back in stock. He told me December the 11th. So as soon as we get everything going and approved, we can start moving toward getting those basketball goals installed, purchased and installed. We're having a kids park slide. We are able to start making progress on helping our kids get just one more slide up. So our guys, after the parade was over with, that became our initiative, our priority, getting at least one more slide up. So there, we have it up. It's still closed because they're doing some digging today to get the slab poured for that and get it stable and ready for our citizens coming up hopefully by the end of this week. So cross your fingers. Tennis court update. We got our 2 quotes in. We're going to have to start the process on our sealed bid, and we're going to try to get that as soon as possible. Of course, it would be at earliest springtime before we'll able to get that actually moving, but the process is being made to get one step closer, making that available for our citizens. So programs coming up. In February, we plan on starting a 55-plus bingo day for those at the Rec Center from 1 to 3 at the first Monday of the month. We've been in contact with the Senior Center, and that's one thing they miss things doing in the afternoon, so we're going to try to provide that for our senior citizens. And we just posted yesterday our kids dance. Kids invite someone special. Young men can bring their moms, aunts, grandmothers, and young ladies can bring their dads or granddads or whoever they like to our dance and try to get our kids involved. So we opened up registration for that, have it posted, and again, our Men of Virtue will start in January. So any questions? Or
I had a local attorney contact me. I gave him your number.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
He
okay,
did.
Good.
Yes, thank you.
There's a lot of excitement in the community about this MOVE program. Thank you so much for getting that started, and I'm sure the dance will be just as exciting. One other call I got was on the parade. They love the Sunday night. The only thing, then if it rains on Sunday night, where do you go?
Right.
But, people have so many things, sports and different things on Saturday night. So, I don't know. We can just look at the weather next year.
Absolutely.
But it was a great turnout. The community really came out for the parade. So, thank you so much for pulling that together.
Well, thank you. Big shout out to our staff out there. They did a great job.
Good.
Also, I got in contact with Doug, and he's super excited to help with the Miracle League project here if we can go forward with it. So, yeah, he's super excited to be a part of that if you'll let him. So.
Absolutely. I look forward to talking
Yes, sir.
further into that.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Planning and Codes Department Director Christy Gentry.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have a few projects to highlight. At the November Planning Commission, the FPU electric car charging project, the site plan was approved. I know this week they have been working on the utility work that was needed to get the service to the parking lot, and this would be the public parking lot going down College where the mural is. And Utility Committee Chairman Randall Griner said that the cabinet is being built and installation should be happening soon. I know they had some grant deadlines to meet, so this project is moving rather quickly now. On the old Taco Bell site, I do have an update on that. T-Mobile is still committed to this site. Negotiations are being made between the property owner and T-Mobile on who will be responsible for paying what portions, since it will now be a complete demolition. It was just going to be a renovation, and T-Mobile was footing the bill for that, but now that they're having to do a total demo, the property owner is more involved. They do plan to, they're getting their plans together to come to Planning Commission for all necessary approvals. The rest of the demolition can be done under the current permit, but I know that it's kind of stalled between holidays and stuff, so more than likely it's going to be after the first of the year when things move forward, but they are still committed to coming, and we will get a brand new building on that site. Arby's is going to be moving to the old Popeyes building. The permit's already been done for this. That's a fairly new building, so we're glad that something will be going in there. The current building where Arby's is, Kent Quick owns that. They have connections with quick service restaurants, so we feel like that will be filled rather quickly once they obtain that part of the building back. We are working on our year-end report. We always do an annual report, take it to the Planning Commission in January, and then it comes to this board in February. So we will be doing that over the next few months. Our new banners are estimated to be delivered around December the 21st. And then these will be hung and revealed as soon as the Christmas decorations come down, right after the first of the year. We did renew the city's billboard contract for another year. This was a budgeted item in tourism. The rent only increased by $5 per month, but we had anticipated an increase and put that in the budget. So that contract has been signed. And my plan is, once we get the new banners in and make sure that we love the design, to take something off of that design and do a new face for our billboard and update that. So all of those things will be happening in first quarter. And then the last thing, our blueprint archival project is almost complete with the funds that we have in this year's budget. They picked up the last box that we will be able to have scanned for this budget cycle. And then we anticipate only having to request for one more budget cycle, and we'll have all of our plans archived. And that's my report.
Any questions? Questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
IT Department, Mr. Lucas Edwards.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
So for the month of November, I have a couple things to report on that I've been doing. One thing has been a few quality of life changes to the website. One thing that I've been working on that is I've been working on putting these new buttons. Currently, well, not currently, but as of yesterday, there's 3 buttons which were pay property taxes, job opportunities, and agendas. Well, I've added additional buttons. I'm not done, but I've added one for Parks and Rec, the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, Finance, and Administration. Like I said, I'm not done yet with all the departments, but these buttons will help to allow citizens to be like, here on the front page, you can click this button, go right to this department, see exactly what they do, and additional information. This also leads into something that Chief Berry has asked me to do, which would be to create a police recruitment page. That way they can help to keep their force fully staffed and not be able to say, oh, we have vacancies, because having a department fully staffed is the key to success. So I've been working on the buttons first and getting information from HR to make the police recruitment page. So that's the next step once I get these buttons made. Currently the buttons are on like a carousel, so you can go from button to button. I'm not a big fan of the carousel. I like having all the buttons front and center. That way you're able to just go right to what you need, but I don't want it to be cluttered. But this will help to say, it's on the front of the website. You don't have to look it through any numerous tabs or resources. You just click, go straight to it. I've been also getting help from Kevin and Pam to be like, okay, what needs to go on these different pages? Is there any changes, any information to be updated, agendas, resolutions, ordinances, stuff that may be out of date? I'm kind of doing a monthly pass over the website to see if there's any outdated information. And I'm not perfect, things fall through the cracks, so if there's something wrong, please let me know and I'll change it according to what needs to be done. The second thing that's been a big thing, I have purchased from Dell 30 new computers and 30 Microsoft Office 365 licenses. That was budgeted for this year. This will help to upgrade the remaining computers up to Windows 11. All the computers over at the police department are basically ready to be upgraded. I'm doing it on a computer by computer basis. That way, if there's any bugs, I can work them out rather than doing a whole sweep and then having to go crazy trying to touch everything. Luckily enough, I purchased these computers during the Black Friday sales, so I was able to take advantage of that pricing to get the most bang for our buck. And so I've got the computers coming in today, and I've had all the other accessories come in over the past week. Our antivirus was set to expire 3 days before Christmas, so I went ahead and renewed that for 65 licenses to cover all the computers. And another thing, I've been researching what was an alternative for the public comment timer and to help make public meetings a bit more efficient. As of right now, I mentioned this during committee, but take it with a grain of salt because I'm just getting information. I'm not purchasing anything or anything of the such unless there's interest. As of currently, there's a iPad here with public comment timer, 2 minutes, and I'm able to adjust it with the iPad standing in the back. And at the moment, I just wave whenever public comments are up. If we were to do any sort of upgrade, I talked to a company called Open Meeting. They use this same software over at the courthouse across the road. And they have a TV set up on the wall to help go through and talk about who motions, who's talking, and it helps to auto-generate minutes. It's something, it helps me, but it also helps you in the audience because then they're able to say, oh, here's how much time they have remaining. Here's who's talking. Here's what needs to be said, and it helps to generate minutes automatically. They said there's 80% that will be generated, and then 20% that needs to be filled in by such as Pam or whoever's doing minutes. It's just something that I took an interest in, mainly to help me out, but also to help be more transparent with the audience. I always say transparency is key. If there's not transparency, then how do people know what's going on exactly? And I work in IT. I know there's information that is supposed to be kept confidential, but I also know that there's information that needs to be spoken. Another thing that I sent out yesterday, we had a little bit, this isn't on my report, but we had a little bit of a phishing email scare yesterday. 5 emails were targeted. So I sent out an email to all the department heads and to y'all, of course, to remind y'all that if you have a personal or a city email, nothing's perfect. Some things get through impersonation and also not being able to say exactly who you are. It was a mayor from another county. Their email was phished and pretending to be them, and it was sent to 5 people requesting for a payment. Once again, if you see an email that you're not expecting, don't open it. If you are expecting an email and you don't get it, then let me know and I'll try to help you. If there's an email that you're not expecting and there's an attachment, a link, something requesting something, please don't open it because they could try to get your information and try to become you. But just a reminder. And that's pretty much it. Is there anything else?
Any questions for IT?
No, Zach, I think you got some good ideas, man, and I'd like to get on board with you on some of that. So,
I guess Lucas.
I'm sorry, not Zach. Lucas,
No,
man.
you're fine.
Sorry, buddy. Man, I was thinking about Zach. My bad.
You're fine.
I hate to cuss you like that. Apologize.
No, you're good. All right.
Thank you.
Did you get any kind of cost estimates on what you were speaking of the system like the courthouse uses?
So if we wanted to use that system, it would be in the ballpark of the one-time cost to set everything up would be about $6,700. And then there's a subscription fee annually of $3,500. And it doesn't have to be purchased now, but they did say that if we had extra ARPA funds, that could be used towards that. Or if we had to push it out, it could be added to the next budget.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, buddy.
Then we'll move to Finance Director Loretta Garner.
Morning. First thing we've got is when you received the budget amendment for the city, and it consists of all those additional CROI invoices, moving the animal control from being a contribution to a nonprofit to an actual department, and the additional software licenses needed for the new software, new accounting software system. And the fire department had an emergency repair to their pumper. And they also received $1,800 from a business to purchase the mannequins. And so that is in that budget amendment. And finally, the Camp Blunt expenditures, we did get the approval letter for that grant, so that we did include that in the budget amendment. Also got a budget amendment from the schools, and that the purpose of that was to allocate the bond money. Then for this year, our sales tax actually was up. It kind of offset last month's decrease by increase. The state share sales tax is kind of stable. The occupancy tax continues to be lower. I did do some research on this and actually looked at each establishment. We do know that one from last year, one B&B is no longer being used as a B&B, so that did decrease a small amount, but the significant amount was, it looked like last year in the September-October time frame that maybe there was some kind of special event or something that, because they had last month, one of the hotels had this time last year, in September, one of the hotels had a increase in their occupancy tax. So we thought that it might be, maybe they may have had some kind of special event or tournament or something that actually last year filled their hotel rooms full, but this year we didn't have that. So that was the best thing that we could come up with when we did some research. I did call the one of the establishments, and he really didn't have any idea of why the big variation. But I did notice it on 2 different hotels that had happened. Oh, finally, you got your cash sheets in front of you. You'll notice that the general fund cash balance was down this month over last month. There's 3 big things driving that. First is that we did make a transfer to the grant fund to pay for that paving that we've not received back yet from that grant. And once that money is received back, because it's a reimbursement grant, so we had to pay for and then we'll get reimbursed. So once we receive that money back, then the grant fund will transfer that back to the general fund. And then we also had a 3-pay period, in the month of September that hit the books. And then we also had insurance came due in September. So in looking at that, so if you wonder why the big variation in those cash balances in that general fund, those are the 3 things that I've noticed that were different from the prior month, other than the normal. And also September is one of those months, it's right before we start collecting property taxes, so revenue is probably at your lowest point during the year. Do I have any questions?
I would like to say, Loretta, this week we had Tanya Travis from MTAS came and hosted a learning session with all the area finance directors, and a lot of our staff attended. It was really, really interesting. They were nice enough to let me come in and sit and listen. It was very educational. Ms. Travis did a wonderful job. But just to see and understand what's going on with other areas, we had Chapel Hill,
Normandy,
Petersburg, we had Winchester, a lot of the surrounding towns came, and to hear Ardmore, hear their problems are similar to what we're experiencing too. So we're not the only one that is having issues. So that's great, and thank you for getting that together if you did, and we appreciate that. Thank you. Administration, City Administrator Kevin Owens.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Item number 1 on my report, we are looking and reviewing contracts that we have with Lincoln County. One of the things, since I've been here in my tenure since March 22, we have several relationships with Lincoln County, but I have not seen any agreement, so we're trying to get a consistent with all of those agreements. So I think it's about 5 agreements, so we're starting to work on getting that so I can report better to the board and also follow and track where we're supposed to be in our responsibility. So that is something we have begun working on, and we're going to continue working on and reporting over the upcoming months. And for the start of it, we have not been able to trace any of the contracts. So some of them may be just starting over with some contracts, but I do want to keep the board updated on those. Item number 2 is with the animal control transition. I want to keep the board updated as we go through this transition period. I would expect the time to be in full operation is January 8th. From the time we ended up, the Humane Society decided to move away from this partnership. We did give a 90-day period of time that we were going to try to get things together and fully operational. If you may remember, back in from July 22 until September 30th, which was about a 90-day period in 22, we did not have full service. We didn't have any services, and we only had a couple emergency services. But we're incorporated those emergency services back then, as well as probably about 5 or 6 that we are conducting. So if there are any emergencies out there, we are conducting. However, we do plan to be fully operating on the 8th of January, which will include if residents need to come in and adopt or any the animal control services, we will be able to do all of that. So we've been working very diligently to do all of that. Staff has been working. We met in the month of November with the Tennessee National Animal Control. They gave us some tips of things to do, but we've been working just to make sure our staff is able to be incorporated, as well as cleaning the building, all the things we need to do just to be operational. And Laura has, and I'm sorry it's not in your package, but she is now doing a monthly report about what is happening at the shelter, how many animals we're getting. We are now redeeming and redemption, so we are now collecting money. It's a little money for people who are redeeming, so we're trying to get that process. We're trying to get the technology together and just train our workers where they need to be. We were able to get the van back in the month of November. We had to fully get it back insurance and service, but we do have the van that we earlier gave to the Humane Society, so it's now back in our possession, and we have had to use that on a few medical emergencies. So we've been trying to get all of that back in order as well. My third item on my report is dealing with the interlocal agreement. You may see an agreement in your package that was given to us by the county's attorney as far as the proposed interlocal agreement. In that interlocal agreement, we have found 3 things, at least 3 items that we did not like, or we felt the county should be also responsible. We have submitted that back to the county attorney and the county mayor and asked them to also make those responsibilities of the county if we do decide to go into that agreement. This is still being negotiated, and we're hoping to adopt it so we can decide on how we move with employees. But if you all also have any concerns, you can direct them to myself or John, but right now the three that we are, well, at least that we have given to the county, those are highlighted. And the only thing we're asking is that the county be equally responsible for those items, that it's not on the city's shoulders.
I see one that's not highlighted,
Okay,
right in the middle of the front page, where section 1, in the middle of that paragraph, it says the city will be solely responsible for hiring and paying the wages of personnel, and such personnel shall be subject to the city personnel policy. I don't know what kind of changes you've been asked for, but I think that should be changed to the county, and I'll tell you why I think.
okay,
In fact, I think these other three things you've asked for right here should be changed to the county and not the city.
okay.
But I do think, I am okay with the equal funding. I mean, that, even though we don't have near as many animals, we've always funded. Right now, 911, which is a large budget for the city and county both.
Correct.
So the city is already using, 911 is basically employees of the city. Because they're on their pay rate, they're on their insurance, they're on their, I think they're on their personnel policy and the whole deal. And we take care of all of that, and then the county pays their half.
Right.
They pay their half. And it's worked good. As far as I know, we've never had any problem with that. On this one, I'm fine with the partnership, the equal part, even though a lot more animals comes in from the county. You know, we've always funded probably more than the county, really, most times. But since the city's already doing the 911 and taking care of all the paperwork and everything on it, and the more the animals comes in is definitely from the county. I mean, because they're a lot larger, the outside area than what the city is, several times larger. Plus, we've got a leash law that helps us control the animals within the city, and that helps cut down on the numbers. I don't know about the county. I don't think they do. And because of those reasons, I'd really rather see the county in the places where it says the city will solely, I'd rather see that. Because the county will take care of that. I'd like to see the county take care of that. I'd like to see the county just take care of these three that you highlighted, just change that to county, and then, of course, at the end, I don't have any problem with, right now anyway, I don't have any problem with the funding part of it, equal funding. I think that would be better. That will allow the county to kind of take the lead on this, since it's a lot bigger county operation. We would still be involved on the financial side of it, and they could carry a little more of the weight on that. That's what I would suggest. Other than that, I don't really see any problem other than that. That's what changes I like to see made.
Any other comments in the local agreement, proposed local agreement?
I think this probably came about, Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, due to your expertise in the past, with your experience with animal control. When we met with the county, I think it just kind of fell on you because you had this experience. But this is definitely something that needs to be looked at to make sure, because we did find that number-wise more came out of the county than the city.
Right. I think as far as the item that Vice Mayor Bryan was speaking, I think that was more so to, when we first found out we would be doing this, we looked at the communication contract and just tried to model as much of it according to that. I think that's how that ended up that way.
John, this is from the county, right? This is the county's.
The county attorney draft.
You've not had anything to do with any of this, as far as drafting.
I did not draft.
So we're in a position where we should be able to send back some maybe minor changes, whatever, to the county to send back and let them have their opinions on what we would send back. And I would like to send back what I just mentioned. I wish the board would allow us to do that. That's what I would like for us to do. There's not any problem going ahead and sending it back. I mean, No problem with that at all.
I agree with that.
Yeah, we should have a voice here, especially since we don't do near as much on animals coming in and all. I mean, I would feel comfortable with that. The county taking the lead on this, since we take the lead on the 911. And everything works great on, I don't know if we've had any kind of problems at all on that, the way that's been being done. And hopefully when you and John reviews anything else we've got, it'll alleviate anything that might have fell through the cracks. We don't need things falling through the cracks. So I'm glad you brought that up, to go back and do that.
Okay. And my final comment, I do want to comment, we were able, under the leadership of our Director of Administration, we were able to complete the TDOT Title VI compliance documentation and turn it in and submit it. And that was very important work led by Pam, but it was very important work because we are required to have this particular Title VI in order to receive grants and anything that's federal related, so it's very important. But by submitting this, we were able to be clear for the next 3 years. So, and I know that board members had to watch tapes and participate, but I do want to announce that we were able to complete that process. In my last announcement, and it should have been sent through email, but we will have the sidewalk pre-construction on this coming Monday upstairs in the multi-purpose, and that will be at 11 o'clock.
So, and I know we beat this to death, kind of, but we have a plan to physically speak with all the merchants.
We do. We're working on that, yes. And that is planned to happen before we start construction once, so yes. I understand that's huge, so.
Yeah, because they need to have some way for people to get in there.
Right.
Some of them can go from the back if they had to. I know, might take some signage or something, but, I'm glad you're doing that. I'm glad you're meeting with the merchants, because it's going to be disruptive.
Right. And it was, when we did the pre-bid back earlier this summer, that was part of discuss how we can keep things flowing with the construction versus the public and keep everybody, as less confused as possible.
Okay.
So, yes, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Any questions for the city administrator? We'll move on to item I, which is other. Item number 1, I will be bringing to the board on Tuesday night a recommendation for appointment to the FPU board. This is a county seat, a county appointee, Michael Gooding. This term will expire July the 1st, 2026. We currently have 2 seats that are expired on that board, and in June of 24, there will be 2 more seats coming up for appointment. Item number 2 is Employee Service Awards. And I'm not sure, that's in your package. You have a list of these in your package. And presentation will be made to these employees, correct, Pam? Okay. Right. Item number...
These awards will be awarded when? Tuesday night meeting. Okay.
Okay, any other questions before we move into the FPU? If you'll recall, last month, FPU came before the board and we approved for them to apply for the loans. This is for wastewater and water and infrastructure. These 3 loans have been approved, and I have received the documentation from the comptroller's office. I'll be sharing this with Director Loretta Garner if she has not already received those. But it just needs to be in the minutes to reflect that these 3 forms were presented for information to the board. And that will come before us on Tuesday night. And the final item is item 6, and I think we took care of that earlier when Mr. Hancock was here presenting the information on the audit. So everyone, I think, has agreed to the Tuesday night vote.
From what I heard, I don't see any reason to us have a special meeting. People works and it was gonna be at 8 o'clock some morning. I don't see any reason to have a special meeting from what I heard. How could we ask for any better? So I'm good.
You okay with that,
I know
Jim?
Dan always wants to talk to us about in person, do you have anything?
Yeah.
He might need to line that up with us between now and Tuesday or a phone call, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
We always have to do that on internal controls.
Okay, so just go ahead and just scratch that December 19th at 8 a.m., just scratch that off completely. Okay.
Yeah, we'll get rid of
This,
that.
yes, we only discussed this meeting. It has not been posted. It has not been published anywhere. So we will just remove that special call meeting. Does the board have anything else for the work session? If not, I declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you.